Do you want to talk about your preparation for your next ketamine assisted
Um,
psychotherapy session?
well, I want to talk about some work shit that bleeds into. I want to talk about some fun shit and some work shit that bleeds into what's about to happen on Monday with the ketamine
Mm-hmm.
because
Let's
they're all
hear it.
fucking related.
Everything's that's the one thing. I mean, the reason why we're even doing this, right, is because our philosophy for how we navigate the business and how we make decisions related to the business is identical to our philosophy that we're continuously in the process of developing, right? But we're utilizing the same philosophy for navigating our personal lives as we are for navigating this business. And that's what's so
Yes.
interesting about it. And the conversations will bounce between personal things and business things, but it's like all the same fucking thing.
Yeah. So I used to have like a set of principles for how I lived my life, and then a different set of principles for how I operated in business. And I don't know where I developed that like bifurcation or whatever,
Mhm.
but I've spent several years with you like trying to make those the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's been this blending of philosophies where I had some things coming into it, you had some perspectives coming into it, and we've been continuously melding our personal philosophies, getting rid of things that maybe weren't ideal perspectives
Right.
and replacing them with better ones. And a big part of that is all of the different therapeutic things that we are continuously trying to in order to get further and further down this path to like mental balance and peace.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I knew when we decided to work together that you were going to be
Difficult.
very difficult to work with in a lot of ways. But I I wanted that. And
I am the medicine.
yeah, you are the medicine man. Well, seriously though, like there were perspectives that you had that I did not fucking agree with or appreciate at all. And like I wanted so like in my last life with Luke, I worked with him for a decade and change. And we got to a point where we were essentially the same brain, which was awesome, except that like the growth kind of stagnated.
Mm-hmm.
And it became, I mean, the friendship was still amazing, but the growth component, like there was a point where I was in a really deep depression. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't going to meetings. I wasn't taking my medicine. And he literally like did one of the best things that anyone's ever done for me, where he basically like we were on Peaks Island off the coast of Maine, where his family has like a cottage. And it was like this beautiful summertime, like think Wedding Crashers situation. And he literally like told me, I can't continue to be friends with you like if you continue to treat yourself this way. So either you need to get help or like we need to have a difficult conversation.
That's a good friend.
That's a very good friend. It's a best friend. And um you have been a similar not the same conversation, but like your pushback against the way that I think about things has been as drastic, but from like a different angle a lot of times. But there's a couple things that you've always called me out on that have always pissed me off, but like I needed to hear them. Like you're always about I was always trying to like eat a little healthier and like cut out a couple things. And you have this position of like either you're fucking all in on the healthy living or you're not in at all. And that like pisses me off because like or it did piss me off because like I wanted to have like a little bit of my thing.
You want your cake and you want to eat it too. The worst fucking expression, analogy, whatever. I still don't know what the fuck it means, but it's super common, right? Like everybody knows, oh, you want your cake and to eat it too. Who the fuck wants cake that they can't eat? I'm not the first person to say that, but why the fuck is that? Why the fuck is that an expression?
Well, basically, once I like actually agreed and was like, okay, you're right, fucking all in. Like things got a lot better, you know. So
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is from personal experience with the nutrition thing, and there is a stark difference between doing everything right. All you eat is meat, vegetables, fruit, fucking shit from the earth, versus mixing in any amount of bullshit fucks everything up.
Yeah.
And I think it has something to do with your gut biome. And I think the gut biome is, I'm not a fucking science person. I don't do any research. I just experiment on myself and come to my own conclusions and listen to fucking podcasts. But what I have proven again and again is if there is an extended period of time where I am eating super clean, real food, I feel amazing. And as soon as I start introducing any amount of fake bullshit, it fucks everything up. And I think the gut controls a lot of, there's some sort of fucking connection between the gut and the brain.
There certainly seems to be.
Yeah.
So,
and I know there is science on that. I've heard that, but like in my own personal experience, I've like felt it.
You felt it.
Yeah.
So,
which I trust more than a fucking peer-reviewed journal.
So you know how, which that's one thing we differ on, but that's fine. So last week we watched Interstellar. I watched Interstellar. I was on a heater. I was fucking in the pocket, loving it. Came here, we recorded, right?
Yep.
Then, and that was a Wednesday. Thursday night, we had some friends over. Friday night, we went and did Rob Baird's birthday bash.
Stayed up till 2.
Stayed up till 2 in the morning.
At 12.
Ate sushi at Raw at
awesome.
midnight, which was literally the perfect night.
However, the sushi itself was pretty.
It was mid.
It was 3 stars.
It was not great.
Yeah.
But addict brain kicks in, and I'm like, well, I've had 3 nights of basically like dopamine fucking hanging with the homies.
Yep.
I want a 4th night. So then we came out here and did a campfire. And I knew
you were in a bad place at the campfire.
I knew driving out to the campfire I had made a mistake. And I did it anyways. And so then Sunday, I basically was sleep deprived, went into a dark depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of sadness. And Jess and I had a great conversation. She was like super supportive, super sweet, and helped me out tremendously. But ultimately what I needed was a nap. So I took a nap.
You were cranky.
I was cranky. So I took a nap. And then I felt better. And then we had the Super Bowl party. Went to sleep, slept great. Monday was like a new person, right? And so when I was with my therapist on Tuesday, we were talking about how I still have this I want to go to chaos. I want to go to I want to keep hitting the dopamine button as much as I fucking can.
You want to drive to Bourbon Street right now.
Literally. I want to just party. Yeah. I want to come out of a plane, parachute down, jump on a jet ski, take that to a kiteboarding place, take that to an island where there's a party with a rave and a grill.
Yeah, that's your that's in your mind. That's your perfect day.
That's my perfect day. Is like that's literally my perfect day in my brain, right? And so it's like big booty mix and fucking like all the time. That's like how I want to live my life. And so I am trying to learn how to get from like craving chaos to craving balance. And that is what we're targeting on Monday in my next ketamine session.
That's amazing.
So I'm asking the medicine to show me the path to like appreciating balance.
Yes. That would be, imagine. And the cool thing is it's possible.
It's totally possible.
And the reason you know it's possible is because you are able to do it sometimes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I had this crazy experience yesterday where I've been editing the first episode of whatever this thing is that we're doing.
Yeah.
And I've been super excited about it, and it's been really fun to edit, and got it to the finish line. I was like, fuck yeah, this is like a great this is exactly what we're trying to do. We were trying to capture the normal conversations that me and you and Justin and everybody else in this company have every single day, all day. This is what we do. This is how we drive the strategy, right?
Yep.
And finally got to a point where it's like, just fucking turn the cameras on. This whole concept, build in public. Like, I think we've been feeling kind of like the drawl to do this for a while, and whatever. So we're doing it. I was excited. I posted it. I was still excited like the first half of the day. Second half of the day, I start to second guess myself. And I start to be like, who the fuck are you? Like what? Who the fuck wants to listen to you? Right? Like that voice. Yeah. And then I started to really spiral and think like, oh no. I have been taking Lexapro for the past year. And Lexapro has been dampening my intuition radar. And now I'm just totally off course and I'm driving this thing into like a fucking weird direction. This is like the spiral, right? Filled with anxiety. And to clarify, I have been off of Lexapro officially for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So now the real fucking anxiety is starting to like creep back in.
It's
The
pretty much
reason
out of
why
your
I was
system.
taking it, pretty much out of my system now. And there was last night, and then there was like one other day where I was like not feeling great. But last night was significant because of the perspective I have on it now. All right, so I have this belief about anxiety and these like uncomfortable feelings that bubble up, that it's caused by two different things. One is your intuition radar, which lets you know if you are operating in alignment with your morals and values. So like I think back to when I was a kid and I would do delinquent shit. I always knew I was doing wrong shit, dude. Like vandalizing things.
Yeah.
It's a thrill, but it's like you always, if you're not
cost.
a sociopath, like you feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the intuition radar beeping. And then there's this other type of anxiety that I think is completely useless, that is triggered by unresolved feelings, emotions, traumas, right? The most extreme example would be a soldier that saw horrific war zone stuff and has like a panic attack because a balloon popped, right? Like that would be completely unnecessary. There's nothing to be worried about, but to him, it's as if he's back on the battlefield, right? So we all have a version of that. I've learned. I still have yet to meet anybody who is trauma-free, right? No matter how cush their upbringing. I have two loving parents that did a pretty damn good job. But childhood's fucked up, dude. Other kids are fucked up.
Yeah.
You're getting traumatized by kids whose fucked up parents are traumatizing them in real time. So it's like it's a fucking chaotic.
You're not leaving without some shit.
So there's these two different types of anxiety. One of them is super helpful, and you definitely don't want to ignore it. Things like alcohol actually do destroy your intuition radar, right? That's why you make terrible decisions under the influence of alcohol.
Yeah.
It literally drowns it out to where you're like, oh, fuck it, right?
Yeah.
So the first realization I had is last night, it was 100% the result of triggering unresolved traumas.
Yeah.
So that was the negative feeling and negative experience. It's like debilitating. It's like everything's negative. Your whole lens and everything fucking sucks. Everything we're doing is fucking trash.
And what was the unresolved?
The fucking THC ban bill is going to ruin it all.
What the unresolved
all of that.
Was?
Well, so that's what we're working on. But I just had a session with my therapist and we talked about it and it was awesome. And next session, we're going to not do any updates, which I like to do, and commandeer the whole session. We're just going to go straight into EMDR for it.
Oh.
She also suggested maybe doing like a double session.
Yeah.
Which is a theme. This is my second therapist.
You talk a lot. You got to double the session.
So, but and I have some suspicions. Definitely my last company, this type of content was what we did.
Right.
And the ending of that company was very dramatic. So 100%, but I think even the experience in my last company was the result of trauma from my childhood, of like, of fucking crying too much or whatever and getting made fun of, right? Like that kind of shit.
And so like chasing the fucking,
Yeah, so we're going to dig into that. But the perspective I have now is like, oh shit. Like, first of all, Lexapro, holy shit, that it's a miracle drug. Because what I've realized is it completely suppresses trauma-based anxiety and puts me in a state of like artificial enlightenment, right? And that's what I've been experiencing for the last year.
It's almost like you've been meditating for decades.
But what it doesn't do is it does not fuck with my intuition radar, because my intuition radar has been stronger than ever over the last year and getting stronger and stronger. So I've come back to like, oh, no. Strategy-wise, everything's fine. This content is going to be super fun to make, and I think people will like it, and we're just going to fucking do it because it's awesome and we can, and it's basically free now that we have the equipment.
And
right?
we're going to grow as a result.
And
regardless.
we're going to grow as a result. There's so many fucking benefits to doing this. It's like it's too long to list. All of my concern, all of the anxiety that I had associated with it is the result of me not being on Lexapro anymore. So now I actually feel that like trauma anxiety, right? Which is fucking awesome because I signed up for my third ayahuasca ceremony, weekend-long ayahuasca ceremony with these facilitators that have told me that the ceremony's already begun, which is a fucking awesome concept, right? Like, as soon as I fucking Venmo'd, the fee,
the money,
the ceremony has begun.
Started.
And it's like, okay, well, of course, like first of all, you got to get off the Lexapro, right? So you can actually understand
to for the ayahuasca, right?
You have to scientifically for the ayahuasca. Yeah, there are chemical interactions between these drugs, and before you do any psychedelic, you should be in as cleansed a state as possible, right? There's the concept of the dieta, I believe is how you pronounce it, where you're supposed to eat super clean, not drink caffeine, like not put anything into your body. Really, however long you want it to. Some people do 3 months. Some people do 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Some people do 3 days. It's like it's up to you, but it's like the cleaner your system can be going into something like that, the better is how I understand it.
Okay, so your first thing was you realize it's past trauma.
Yeah, well, so this is the first time I've really been able to see the distinction this clearly, where it's like there is uncomfortable feelings that I will experience as a honing mechanism to keep me on track and keep me operating in alignment with my values. And then there is completely worthless, not helpful, intense anxiety that bubbles up when unresolved traumas get triggered. Is it
easy to tell the two different types of anxieties, or are they kind of like melded together in your head?
Well, they were melded together in my head until this morning. I'm like, oh, fuck, no, that is a different thing. This is a totally different thing. And it took me getting some serious distance from even experiencing it. I've been in my journal referring to it as an anxiety spell, right? Which is totally different than like, this doesn't feel right, you know? Mm-hmm. Where like that's a totally manageable amount of anxiety.
And a spell has a finiteness to it. It's not forever.
Yes.
Which is something I want to talk about in a second.
Yeah. And so anyway, I feel more clear than ever. And going into at the end of March, I'll do my third ayahuasca ceremony with this group. I'm going to be more prepared than I ever have been. The last time I did it was the first time I even started to understand the concept of having unresolved trauma. Prior to 2022, it was never even a thought in my head. I was like, I fucking had a fine upbringing. I don't have any trauma, right?
I remember talking to you as if you didn't have any.
Yeah, because you would talk
bring
about
up stuff, and you're like, yeah, mine was fine.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, well, I mean, someone like Chris has it because his shit was fucked.
Yeah.
But like, I was fine.
Yeah.
You know, I had some like, friend stuff in high school or whatever, like, but never thought of it as like, it's the thing that makes me feel like shit a lot of times. In a lot of situations, right? And so it took from 2022 until pretty recently to like really fucking fully wrap my head around all of that. And, it compelled me to go start therapy. Mm-hmm. And even when I started, it's like, I think I'm doing this wrong. I don't really know how to, and now it's like just through perseverance, I'm finally noticing these very clear progress that I'm making as a result of all of the different modalities, but very specifically therapy.
Mm-hmm. The fact that you went as deep into the hole as you did the other day and came out of it that quickly.
Yeah.
That's progress.
Right.
I've never seen you bounce that quick out of it without Lexapro.
So, and the thought that I had today that I was talking to my therapist about is like, I started by asking like, what does it look like? I now like very clearly understand this idea of resolving these suppressed traumas and feelings, right? Like mine specifically is I can't feel any emotions that make me cry, right? So sadness, pity, like nothing, I can't feel any of those. And what she said is the anxiety is your brain working overtime to suppress those feelings. And if you just let the feelings out, then there's no anxiety. It's literally, you're just like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to fucking cry.
Damn.
Isn't that weird? And so she was like, it can look like the actual end result can look different for different people, but there's typically some very specific, like cathartic releases of emotions, followed by which last session I cried. So I had like at least a little bit, which was wild. Followed by
so just through therapy, you've gone from not being able to cry to actually accessing that a little bit.
Yes. Just in like the brief
just with EMDR
time that I've been working with this new therapist. Yeah. And then prior to that, we were using the same therapist who's awesome, just doesn't live close to me.
Yeah.
There's going to be some sort of cathartic release of these emotions. If you're suppressing crying for 40 years, you're probably going to cry. And it might be multiple sessions before you like really fucking let it out or whatever. But then in day-to-day life, things will still trigger you, but you're going to have this new perspective where you recognize it. Like yesterday, I was like sitting there. It's like, I was just like, part of me was like getting caught up in it, but part of me was almost like the observer. Like, this is so weird. Like, it's so interesting that I'm feel like
so
this
fucking tied up.
Literally everything is still the same as it was moments ago,
same
right?
Therapy session.
And so, but then I was able to, with that perspective, pull myself out of it so much quicker and not just fucking, not let it just be this like, woke up this morning in a bad mood. I could. So what I'm getting at is I think the process looks like a few rounds of that, and then eventually it's just fucking gone.
Dude, we had the exact same therapy session. So I went to therapy and she had this chart, and there's like this band in the middle, which is like normal. The term is arousal, which is like general awareness and like excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And then above it was called hyper arousal, and below it was called hypo arousal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent 4 days just juicing my shit. And then eventually I ran out of chemicals and I dropped down into hypo arousal. Here's the there's no problem with that. You can do that if you want. You want to live on tilt, fucking pay the price, that's fine. The problem is I spent 21 years being in like suicidal ideation.
Yep.
So in my head, when I go to hypo arousal, my default click is, oh shit, this is how it's always been, and this is what it's going to be like forever. Yep. And all of the good ideas and good situations were just a blip on the fucking fuck you radar. Mm-hmm. And what she spent a lot of the session telling me is like, hey, maybe next time, like, try reminding yourself that you might just be in hypoarousal, because what you've learned over the last year is if you eat pretty well and you take care of yourself and talk to people and exercise, for the most part, you're in a really good mood and you don't fucking think that your life is just a cosmic joke. Right? Like, yeah. And so remember that next time, that maybe that's actually your baseline and you juiced your shit.
Yes. Yeah, dude.
So same fucking lesson this week, which is wild.
It's fucking crazy. And I also think that sleep and energy levels have a whole lot to do with anxiety levels, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of workshopping this in real time, but I have a suspicion that if I were to resolve these suppressed feelings and emotions fully, that even if because I was in the same boat, I spent 2 days staying up till 2 a.m., right? Not drinking or anything, but like just sleep deprivation.
Yep.
And so Monday I was fucking wrecked, which then sends me into this like spiral of thinking of everything through a negative lens. And it's like the tiredness triggers the unresolved emotions. If the unresolved emotions were gone, I'm pretty sure we would just take a nap.
You'd be a child. You'd just take a nap.
Yeah, we'd be cranky, we'd take a nap, and then we'd be fine.
So in rehab, you learn halt. If don't ever let yourself get too hungry, angry, lonely, tired, or thirsty. And if you do, stop, halt, and fucking take care of it. Dude, how insane is that?
Everything's the fucking same.
I have to pee, and then I want to talk about... there's a specific thing I want to talk about.
Go pee and think about it.
I'm going to think about it. I got to pee. Justin, you want to hear my stream? Okay. I want Brie to be able to see all this. I'm so excited about that.
She's not going to need any of this information, fortunately, because you will just resolve all potential traumas in real time.
But I would like to have gone back and like see what my dad was like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just
no, it'll be super interesting. But fortunately, this isn't going to be like helpful information for her.
Yeah, I don't think so. She's going to get it firsthand.
Dude, I love that concept of that. My therapist was explaining it again. The
anxiety,
the idea that like anything can be a trauma. So like washing dishes could be a trauma if your parents are yelling at you.
Yeah.
But you could also wash dishes with your parents and laugh and have fun, right?
Yeah.
Same activity.
Chores can be like fucking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this week, I was doing two things that were really previously would have been very stressful for me.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, I was completely detached from the outcome. And that's like ginormous fucking progress for me. So the first one was updating the financial model.
Yep.
It's always like I am tight butthole. I'm fucking the whole time. I'm just like, what's the cash going to forecast? What's the cash going to forecast? I didn't have any of that. I was like
always jumping ahead and making assumptions that are like
negative. Oh, it's fucked.
Yep, it's all fucked.
So it's like this time I just went there. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do the best job I can updating the model, make sure I didn't miss anything. And that's what I focused on. It was fucking awesome. And then, so that was actually like an enjoyable activity instead of like a scary one, which was really cool. I actually had fun.
It helps that we're doing well.
That helps. But then yesterday, like there was like that flavor issue that I was like struggling with. Yep. And I did not, same thing you're talking about. I was like, yeah, it sucks that it's not fucking dialed yet or perfect yet, but it's going to get resolved. We're going to figure it out.
Or we won't, and we'll do something else.
It's not fucked.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
That's crazy.
So I just stayed in the fucking present.
It's kind of like, unbelievable, right?
It's fucking unbelievable. Yeah. And so what I want to talk about was people have asked me like, because for the most part, my life's amazing. Like, amazing wife, beautiful child, awesome fucking community, great job, friends, like fucking everything. And people are like, why are you doing all this like psychedelic therapy? Why are you doing all this therapy shit? And I used to just say, it was kind of like flippant, but I kind of knew what it meant, but I was kind of flippant about it. And I was like, well, I just want to be free. And people are like, okay, I guess that's like Chris just saying some fucking whatever.
Yep.
But I have had time to like figure out what the fuck free means to me. My definition of free is, and you said something about it earlier that triggered the thought, was what I'm explaining to people now is I want to respond appropriately to what's happening right now, not based on something that happened 20 years ago or in the past at all. And that's like my definition of freedom.
Dude, my therapist frames this up very nicely. She's like, 40-year-old Madison is fine. He's doing great. Yeah. He has no issues. But 14-year-old Madison is not doing great. Also, it's kind of a weird question because it's like, you're doing great because you're doing these things, right? So it's like, the answer is like, well, I'm doing great because, and I'm going to keep doing it so I can keep doing greater.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Why would you ever stop?
But also, I like that delineation where it's like, we have this, the fucking inner child thing.
The family systems or whatever they call it shit is awesome.
Yeah. So you have an inner child that maybe isn't doing great. Yeah. No matter how good you're doing presently.
So yeah, and I don't know how like, again, we've talked about this before. I don't know how into the weeds to get on the podcast with like some like really graphic shit.
Well, we can edit.
Okay, so one of the craziest memories that I have as a kid was, so I was in a colostomy bag till I was 10.
Yep.
And so what happens sometimes when you're in a colostomy bag, especially when you're like a energetic child, is you'll exert yourself, and then your colostomy will bust, and your intestines will fall out.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying.
So at one point, I had it's called a prolapse, and I had about a foot of intestine hanging out of my stomach.
Jesus.
And so I'm on St. John. There's no like hospital that can deal with this. So you have to get me to the States. The problem is an organ sitting outside, you can't just push it back in. It can just like really bad stuff can happen. You can get sepsis. So then the doctors are like, all right, we're going to life flight you to the States. It's going to take about 12 hours before we can get you on a plane. In the meantime, to keep the organ alive, you're going to ice it every 20 minutes and then do it for 20 minutes. So I remember laying in my mom's office's bathroom on the floor, the fucking intestines hanging out, and we're putting an ice pack on it for 20 minutes, and it gets really fucking like wrinkly and hard as it gets hot and cold. And then you take it off, and then it kind of gets back to room temperature, and it does that. You just do that until you can get to a hospital. Otherwise, it'll atrophy and it'll literally die. So I had the way that the therapist had explained to me with EMDR was if a memory is extremely clear to you, it's probably not resolved. So that memory I had, this is kind of the point, I had that fucking dialed as like a memory. We did EMDR on it. I fucking went back to that moment and I like went back to that room. I fucking saw the intestines doing its thing. I started to like notice these details about the tiles, and like they had a pink toilet and they had like these kind of blue tiles and shit, like just all this little stuff that I hadn't really like put together. After we did the EMDR, the power of that memory is like, it's dead.
Yeah, that's truly insane. That you experienced it, and then that you were actually able to resolve the trauma from it with some fucking buzzers and a nice lady who talks to you.
Dude,
that's crazy.
That's insane.
And it's something that has for you created a self-limiting belief, right? Yep. And it's created a lot of fear.
I believe that my body's broken. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe that I can fucking play sports. I don't believe I can do, like, I won't go to group exercise classes because every time I do, my back goes out or something. And then I'm like, I'm a piece of shit. No one will fuck. Dude, that's a lot of bullshit to like clear out. And then you get all that bandwidth back to fucking try shit.
Well, think about how dedicated you are to the fitness path now.
Yeah.
And previously, you didn't appreciate the body you had enough.
I talk shit to it.
Yeah, to ever work out.
So I have, everyone knows I have restless leg, and like I'd be up till 2 a.m. and I'd be punching my legs and just calling my body a piece of shit and just like literally talking terribly to my body as its own like entity.
You know that shit about talking to plants?
Exactly. And ice. Dude, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying to my body. So like, okay, just fucking, so now I'm being nice to it. And it's like, let's see what happens.
Fucking wild, dude.
Yeah. It's so sick. Anyways.
Had you ever heard that story? Yeah. Some gnarly, dude. This motherfucker.
And that's just one. I got a bunch of those. But
the fact that he's here right now doing this well is a goddamn miracle.
It's so wild, dude. So, like, all that to say, if psychedelic therapy, because I've been in a lot of talk therapy and it works for a lot of people, it did not work super well for me. Mm-hmm. EMDR worked extremely well for me and got me about like 6 or 7 months of like real fucking progress. The psychedelic therapy, I just felt like there was something I was stuck at. There's like a level of feelings like the sadness and stuff that I just can't fucking get to. And I needed something chemically to like help me let my guard down because I wasn't going to go there.
Yeah. Same exact rationale for using something like an SSRI. It's like SSRIs are so demonized, and I think the way they're administered should be demonized.
Right.
But the efficacy of the medicine is insane. And
it saved my life.
It's just a shame. It's a shame that the original doctor that prescribed you Lexapro wasn't also like, and go get therapy. And then like you went to therapy and you got a good therapist and your insurance paid for it. And then it was like, we're going to use Lexapro for a short amount of time to allow you
to process some shit.
Right. Like that's
in
how
20 years, I think that's where we are. But we're just not.
I do too. Well, and I mean, I hope that one of the things that comes out of this is that we could just fucking like implant the seed in someone's head that like, okay, well maybe I literally tried everything before trying Lexapro. I was so anti SSRIs that I fucking went to 2 ayahuasca ceremonies.
You ran every day.
I ran every day.
You ate clean as hell.
I did all of the things. And then finally, Kim was like, for the love of God, just try it.
And you were so much easier to work with after.
Right? The interesting thing though, and this might be a little revisionist history or whatever, but I feel like I had to do all of the other things. I had to turn over every rock. And in doing so, it gave me profound perspective on things so that when it came time to try Lexapro, I could benefit from a small dose. And I could use it for a short period of time. And then I could wean off of it. And then I could actually get into solving the underlying issues. And that's where I'm at now. And it feels like, that feels like the progression. It feels like where I'm headed.
Dude, like your path and my path, it's been such a beautiful thing. And if psychedelic therapy continues to do for me what it has done so far, I will probably end up dedicating the rest of my life to like helping other people get access to it.
That I can't think of anything that would be more fun and fulfilling than figuring out a way. I mean, that's what we're fucking doing with these. Cannabis is a mild psychedelic.
Yeah, it's like the base level psychedelic experience.
And it's just a little bit will open your mind a little bit, right? And as opposed to things like alcohol or Xanax or these things that just fucking, it's just a weighted blanket on your brain.
I've never seen someone get like aggressive on cannabis.
No, because that's not what it does. Yeah. It's like this idea of drugs.
Yeah.
These are drugs. It's just a different thing than a lot of the bullshit that people use to relax, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're already, I don't think that we have any control ultimately over the way this thing unfolds. I think we are stewards of whatever the fuck this is, and that we just have to continue to operate in alignment with our values. And that if we do that, then this thing unfolds the way it's supposed to. And we can sit here and like speculate on where it's going, which we do often, and it's fun, but who fucking knows? But in speculation, it would be really sick if this kept evolving to the point where psychedelic therapies are legal and we could really dive into that space and help from a branding, marketing, education standpoint. It's like once you discover the benefits of real therapy, which is talk therapy, psychedelic therapy, all of these things, like you just want to tell everybody because you're like, oh fuck, I used to feel like shit and now I feel awesome.
Yeah. Dude.
And I'm not on drugs.
Even physical therapy.
Right.
Like I went to like 6 fucking PTs because of my back. And then finally this amazing woman was like, oh yeah, I did this class called the McKinsey method and I think that's what you have, and just like do this 3 exercises, and all of a sudden like I could tie my shoes again.
Yeah, it's crazy. Fucking crazy.
So there's like a little bit of fucking like, yeah, you gotta like find the person. You wanna go to Lockhart?
Yep.
So what are we going to Lockhart for?
Fuck that.
Yeah?
Matter. I don't know that. I think
that's different.
Yeah, I think as I've been like immersing myself in the content, I think that it should be like more this series should be like more narrowly focused on therapy.
Okay.
And how that relates like
to what we do at work.
To what we do and yeah, because it's a little schizophrenic, that first one. And we can still we should vlog the mill scale thing, but that's a vlog. That's content. A vlog. This is y'all need therapy.
Okay. Sick. Do it.
Yeah. To where we don't need to like cut, like we don't need to try to be comedians, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we just go to Lockhart, we also record that, but we don't. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems less pressure too.
Yeah, it's just like this should be like literally like therapy updates.
Yeah. Which is what it's
and now we've already teed it up for like you got ketamine coming up, I've got ayahuasca coming up.
Oh yeah, next Thursday I'll have.
And this is also like, it feels therapeutic. I feel like I'm in a therapy session right now.
Well, so the reason I really like this is like I usually been taking notes. So for the last like 6 months, I've been taking notes about my updates for where I'm at, like therapy wise, and then I read them to Anna because I'm not very good at self-reporting. This is basically my therapy notes,
and you can just run the tape back. Yeah,
that was my week.
We're treating therapy like a professional sport.
Yes, the only difference between fucking around and science is writing it down. This is technically writing it down, right? We're just fucking upload it to ChatGPT, and then you got your notes.
Yeah.
And I get to send that to Anna.
Fuck yeah.
That's helpful to me.